If you're a content creator, you should know by now that audio is much more important than video quality. However, good sounding audio doesn't have to completely break the bank, so today we're talking about the Elgato Wave DX, which only costs around $100. Before we get started though, I recently partnered with Elgato, so they did send all this equipment for me to check out and make videos on. However, they don't get to see these videos before I post them, so all these opinions are going to be my own. I've said this before, but for most creators, spending between $100 to $150 on a microphone is that like perfect sweet spot between quality and cost, because obviously you can buy really high-end pro equipment which is going to cost you $400, $500, $1,000, but most of the time your audience won't be able to tell the difference between a $100 and a $1,000 microphone, and that's where the Wave DX comes in. It's a $100 dynamic microphone from Elgato. It's made out of metal, so the build quality is pretty great, and it includes this adjustable mounting arm which has a 1/4 20, 3/8 and 5/8 mounting options, so it can fit any mic arm you need it to. The mounting arm is also removable, which means that you can swap it to the other side of the microphone, and that's great for either sorting out your cable management or if you just want the logo to face towards the camera. The only real caveat of this microphone is that it's XLR only, which means you'll need an interface to actually power this and connect it to your computer, but I don't see that as too much of a downside because it tells me that Elgato spent more money and time and research on the sound quality and build of this microphone than they did trying to do USB, XLR and everything all at once, which probably wouldn't sound as good. Anyway, speaking of the Wave DX, what do you actually get in the box when you purchase this microphone? So in the box you basically get the Elgato Wave DX itself, you get some paperwork and, well, just the adapters to attach it to microphone arms. Something I've always liked about Elgato is the fact that they kind of know who their audience is, and most of the people that are like buying their stuff aren't like huge audiophiles, they're not professionals, they're people that want to have good quality equipment for their content creation and live streaming, and this microphone fits that bill. It's not the most professional thing in the world, but it sounds good, it looks good, and it's just going to work straight out of the box. Speaking of it looking good, that's also another thing that obviously Elgato cares about, because they know that the people that use their like equipment are live streamers, which means that the microphone's more than likely going to be on camera, and something that's important to at least a lot of creators, me included, is having a microphone that looks good. However, looks aren't everything, and as you can kind of hear, it does sound good, but I will admit currently I'm using a bunch of filters on this microphone. I've got like a noise gate, a compressor, EQ, a limiter and stuff like this, so this is kind of what it sounds like in the most ideal situation. So I'm going to remove the filters off this and then you can hear what it sounds like. So this is what the Wave DX sounds like straight out of the box. There's no filters or anything on this. This is just what you would have if you took the microphone, plugged it into an interface and started speaking into it. Very basic, very neutral, but it still sounds pretty good. Something to mention about dynamic microphones though is the fact that they just don't have a lot of detail and clarity and just pop straight out of the box, not like condenser microphones do, where these are a little bit more designed to actually have some work done in post or in filters or in something just to make it sound exactly how you would like it to sound for your voice. Speaking of sound quality though, I should probably compare this microphone to a couple of other microphones at different price ranges so you can kind of hear how it compares. Our greatest accomplishments cannot be behind us because our destiny is above us. Our greatest accomplishments cannot be behind us because our destiny is above us. Our greatest accomplishments cannot be behind us because our destiny lies above us. As you can hear though, the Wave DX actually holds up pretty well against the other microphones, despite the fact that it's only like $100 or so, because you'd expect it to sound much worse, especially compared to a microphone that costs like $400 or so, but this holds up really well and is more than good enough for most creators. Also, I included the Wave 3 microphone in this test as well because, well, obviously the Wave DX is going to be more suited probably for live streaming and stuff, but a lot of people might not have the budget for this microphone and an interface, which is going to be like $250, $300 plus pounds, whatever. So even though personally I would go for the Wave DX, some people might want to get the Wave 3 instead, which I will be making a video on soon. Also, a few people have complained about this in the past, so I'm going to apologize in advance in case you do hear any background noise in these recordings, because I'm in a tiny room and my PC is literally like 2-3 feet from this microphone, so any microphone in this space is going to pick up that background noise, and I really need to get some quieter fans, so if anyone wants to send me some, please do that. Speaking of background noise though, this microphone is obviously designed for live streaming and content creation, which means that it should, in theory, avoid quite a bit of background noise. So I'm going to do a couple of tests and examples to show how it copes in different situations, so let's get started. Starting with Offaxis rejection, and in case you don't know what that is, it's just how well the microphone copes with any audio that's not directly in front of it. And as a creator or a live streamer, you don't want audio coming in from the sides or from behind, because obviously you want to avoid any background noise or additional noise in your space, like your neighbors, your pets, cars driving by, any of that type of stuff. So obviously it sounds fine in front, but if I head off 90 degrees to the side, how does this sound? This is a test 90 degrees of the Wave DX, which hopefully it's cutting out some of the frequencies and not picking me up as well. But this microphone is slightly different to other dynamic microphones, because normally other dynamics have a supercardioid polar pattern, where this one has just a cardioid pattern, meaning that the frequencies are picked up a little bit wider than usual. Saying that though, having that different polar pattern isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just Elgato building this microphone for its intended audience, and that's going to be beginners or casual users, and it's not going to be experts of microphones who know about mic positioning and staying exactly in position. So having a slightly wider polar pattern means that streamers and creators can move around a little bit like this and still be picked up perfectly fine, whereas a more directional microphone means that you'll have to sit really still and be directly in front of the microphone, otherwise it'll sound bad. Speaking of sounding bad though, now we're going to actually test out the plosives and stuff, and plosives are obviously the PB kind of sounds that you get sometimes, which is basically like the air hitting the microphone and doesn't sound very good. However, this microphone has a pop filter built into it, so hopefully the plosive sounds aren't too terrible. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, testing, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, this test is specific for me because it depends on how you speak, but if you're struggling with plosive and stuff, you might have to get a pop shield, but most people probably don't need one with this microphone. And last but definitely not least, and so this is basically designed for live streamers, we need to test how well it rejects keyboard sounds while you're typing and playing games and talking into the microphone at the same time. So if I keep talking like this, but start typing on my keyboard, which is obviously blue switches, which are very loud, and I wouldn't advise anyone to get these type of switches for streaming because it's just a poor decision, but this is how it sounds if you're talking into your microphone while typing and playing games while hitting the WASD keys. Obviously no microphone is perfect though, so there's a couple of things to be wary of, and that is, well, handling noise. Obviously, try not to touch this microphone too much because it's going to pick up lots of noise. Not too many microphones really deal with this very well, so just avoid touching it and knocking it as best as you can. And also, it only comes in black, unfortunately. Great for Batman, might not be for you if you want like a white, nice setup like that, but hopefully Elgato release other colors in the future, because they did that with their Wave 3 microphones. They had like green and pink and white and stuff as well, so hopefully the same thing happens with this and we get other colors and choices for our setups. Overall though, I think this microphone is a great choice for the majority of creators because it, as I said earlier on, it fits in that like nice window of quality without being too expensive, because it sounds good, looks good, is easy to use, and overall they have a perfect like audio system if you pair this with the Elgato Wave XLR, and that means you'll also get the Elgato Wavelink software. So not only do you get a microphone, an interface, you also get routing mixing software, so you can basically just control all your audio on stream from one like nice product. Anyway, hopefully this video was useful for you. Please let me know in the comments down below if it's something you're considering buying or if you have changed your mind on this microphone. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover or make videos or tutorials on, and also check out exactly how you should be setting up your microphone filters and stuff here, and I will see you all in the next one.